Welcome back to the channel, old school metal vinyl fanboys. Annihilator is the band we're covering today. Now, if you're following this channel, you might remember that I featured Annihilator in one of my previous videos. It was a very short one recorded some years ago. If you scroll through my video history, you will find it. It was just a basic showdown of my vinyl collection by the band. Because guess what? At some point in time, I ended up owning something like 23 or 24 records by the band, which is kind of insane. And of course, the question popped up in my brain: do I really need 24 albums by Annihilator in my house? The answer was a sheer and clear no. And just like that, I decided to sell the ones which didn't really get much playing time on my turntable, or at least the ones that sold for the price of gold. Mind you, Annihilator is a band that has been around for like 4 decades, so of course they have a lot of ups, but also several downs in their career. Two of the albums I sold were actually very solid. I'm talking about The King of the Kill and Refresh the Demons. You're not gonna see them in this episode because they were sold like 2 years ago. They went literally for the price of gold, as I said before. I think each of them granted me like 300 euros, something like that. I can't really remember, but we're talking about more or less that amount of money. So yeah, I mean, as much as I like the albums, what do you do really? I mean, I'm not stupid. It's you just take the money and leave the record on the table. Just like that, some days ago, I happened to sell another bunch of records, of my Annihilator records. Four of them, not particularly good ones, but one of them, namely Carnival Diabolos, is actually one of my favorite releases by the band, and I'm sort of like regretting selling it already because I played it quite a lot and I still played it today. Had a lot of fun listening to this record. Originally released in 2001 as a CD only release, then later repressed by Airrake Records in 2010. They acquired the rights, they pressed like 500x on black vinyl and 300 more on colored vinyl. This, in my opinion, is the last really classic Annihilator LP ever. Everything that came after this album was kind of subpar in my opinion, but the band was really in top shape on this LP. It includes some of my all-time favorite songs by the band: Denied, Battered, and Time Bomb on side A. And then you have Epic War, which is an incredibly stellar song, totally Maiden-esque sounding, which speaks volumes on how polyhedric of a musician Jeff Waters can be, as well as Shallow Grave. Now, Shallow Grave is a total banger. Today I was playing this album because, as usual, before shipping them to the new owner, whenever I sell something, I always play it. And I was literally banging my head to this anthem. It's mid-tempo thrash song based on an incredibly catchy guitar riff, which is the game Jeff is an absolute master at. Is hands down one of the, in my opinion, one of the top 5 thrash metal guitarists out there. This copy is signed by the man himself. I had the pleasure and luck to have a very long chat with the man after the show he performed in Ljubljana in 2015. Absolutely friendly. I have nothing but good words for the man himself. One of the kindest gentlemen in metal. He even let me have a tour through the tour bus, sorry, for the playing words, meeting the other band members, etc., etc. Doesn't matter, but bottom line, absolutely lovely guy. Yeah, as I said before, an album I'll definitely regret parting ways with, but it is what it is. I sold it for 150 euro, I believe, so I really can't complain too much. The records which I will definitely not miss that much is the same titled album by the band, released in 2010. It's available only as a picture disc edition. There's no regular vinyl pressing, no regular black vinyl pressing. I don't know what went through the guy's head, through Jeff's head when he decided to switch to this very, very shitty logo. The artwork itself is kind of like debatable. At least we have the classic Annihilator logo on side B. Pretty cool picture by the band. I would have gone for these pictures instead of this very, very terrible artwork. Musically, not exactly the best Annihilator record ever. This is part of the albums which they released with David Padden, I think that was the name of the guy behind the microphone. And that's the year of the band when they decided to switch to this kind of like more groovy, I would say, sound. Not really sure if that's the right word to define it, but at some point, like Jeff decided to expand a little bit the Annihilator concept. Perhaps he got, I would say, I don't know, maybe a bit fed up with the whole thrash metal thing. He decided to like widen up his horizons a little bit, perhaps embrace a new fan base, whatever. I think the attempt came a little bit short. The albums that he released with this new singer really don't do it for me. I would be hard pressed to find one song that really sticks out in this album. And just like that, Schizo Deluxe also doesn't offer much interest. It's there's one good song on side A, Invited, which is kind of like a old school Annihilator, but everything else not so good. This is again an album which only came out as a CD when it was originally released. Then our kind friends at the Night of the Brain, the vinyl makers, released it on vinyl some years later. 350 copies. It's a gatefold edition. You know that I'm not the friends of this label policy of overcharging ridiculous prices. I think I paid like 45 euros retail price when this album was released, and that's a good 12 years ago, probably even more. I don't know. What to say about this vinyl release? It's the usual kind of Night of the Vinyl Dead release. What to expect from it? It's literally just a CDR version of the album pressed on vinyl, sent it over to GZ or whatever and pressed on vinyl. So, you know, this label has this very debatable policy. They just don't bother coming up with a proper vinyl mastering for their releases. So it is what it is. Just like that, all for you. Another release by Night of the Vinyl Dead Records, and in this case it's even worse because this might as well be one of the worst Annihilator albums in their discography. No song sticks out from the song list. It's very, very generic. The songwriting is very uninspired. Songs just don't flow. Then you have the vocals from the guy who was switching from, like, you know, this incredibly aggressive kind of like borderline death metal vocals at times. Then he switches back to clean vocals, not really, you know, focusing too much. It's kind of lacks focus, let's put it like this. So all for you, definitely an album I will not regret parting ways with. Pricing quality very bad. The cover, the jacket, I mean, is very, very flimsy. Gotta be very careful handling it. There is like a lyrics bootleg inside, not too shabby actually, but yeah, typical Night of the Vinyl Dead release. Last and hopefully least is for the Demented. It's the LP which they released in 2017, and that's when my interest in the band absolutely dropped, because this album is terrible. That's the best way to describe it. It's there's not a single good song on this album. Absolutely terrible and miserable. And just like that, as I said, my interest in the band was just disappearing. It's kind of sad because this is a legendary band in its own way. I think they would have deserved better success, but after this album I just lost track. I don't know, I think they released 2 or 3 more albums, but at this point, like, the only, you know, redeeming quality that I think of when it comes to Annihilator is Jeff's guitar solos. It's like if you release like a completely instrumental album these days, I would probably buy it, because, you know, like hearing the man shredding his guitar is just you know, one of the best experiences you can find in thrash metal these days. But Annihilator as a thrash metal band itself is pretty much done. I think it's I really don't see them getting back to their heydays. This is pretty much all I sold. What I still have available for sale is the Wake and the Fury album, which is actually a fairly decent album, not reinventing the wheel or anything, but a solid Annihilator LP, signed by Jeff himself. Is in mint condition. It's in mint conditions, so if you're looking for this one, just feel free to get in touch. I still have a Feast, which is the sort of a Back to the Roots album from 2013, also signed by the man himself. Musically, not exactly again the best thing since Sliced Bread. The first song I remember, Deadlock, if I remember correctly, it had a riff which was blatantly stolen from Slayer, but what to expect really? After 4 decades, your like inspiration tends to fade away. And then the last one is Metal, the double LP they released. I don't even remember when. I think I played this album maybe 2 or 3 times tops, so it's in pretty much flawless condition. It's 2007. It's only 20 years old. Yeah, it's on Steam Hammer actually. So that's pretty much all I have for sale. If you're still looking for these albums, feel free to get in touch and come up with an offer. So guys, that does it for this episode. Let me know down in the comments if you share my views concerning the albums we have seen today. Until the next time, keep it loud and heavy as always.